The UK has added 6 African countries to its red list for travel. That's South Africa, Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Namibia and Zimbabwe. The travel restrictions went into effect at noon on Friday. The UK government says it's a precautionary measure to keep the spread of the new Omicron variant in check. Let's get some reaction to this now from Black Business Council CEO Khanki Matabane. Thank you very much for your time this evening. First of all, what do you make of these recent travel bans from various countries, not just the UK?
Evening, and thank you very much for having us. I think the first thing is the scientists could have handled this matter much better, and the way they handled it, I think they didn't handle it with the sensitivity that it deserves. We believe in our scientists. We always follow what they say, but I think the way it was communicated, it was not done properly. And we think the solution to the pandemic is to encourage everyone to get vaccinated. We don't think the additional restrictions on lockdown will actually help, because small businesses and businesses in general, and especially the tourism ones, are actually struggling, and they were looking forward to this period that is coming, the period where school holidays, and I think that they were thinking that they would be able to get some money. But the challenge is that if we put more restrictions, most of the companies will never recover at all. They'll basically close down, because they are still trying to recover from COVID, and the more you put more restrictions without any financial support from government, we don't think that will be the best way to handle this.
Let's talk a bit more about the financial impact in a while. I want to find out from you, though, your comment about the scientists not having handled the matter with the necessary sensitivity. Where do you think they went wrong, and what should they have done differently, if that's your opinion, that they are at fault for the current travel bans?
Yeah, I think the way they handled it, they caused panic. And I think they should have consulted widely, so that by the time the announcement came, we were not taken aback. We were not shocked, all of us, because all of us we were shocked. As the BBC was shocked when we heard what they were saying, because they did not even consult us. We serve with them in various structures, in network, and then so on. But they never shared information. But the way it came as a panic. You should have seen the airports. A lot of tourists were here in South Africa because it's summer here. They basically were scrambling to leave, which I think it should, if it was handled better, people would have been given enough time to prepare, and those who want to leave, they'll have had ample time to prepare to leave. But the way it was handled is not good. But I think we have to learn from this, and then in future we should at least handle it much better and improve the communication.
And of course, our scientists do have a very big responsibility in communicating with the rest of the world about important discoveries made here, not taking away from that incredible work being done here. Let's come back now to local restrictions. You mentioned that businesses would not recover. We've heard that numerous times. Have you been in consultation with government? We know that the NCCC is meeting at the moment. They are still locked in meetings, deciding possibly on higher levels of restrictions. What would your advice to them be?
Yeah, we did engage with them yesterday, and we've put our proposal. And our proposal is that the economy cannot afford more restrictions. What needs to happen, we should consider, as government should consider encouraging people to vaccinate, or maybe at the worst case scenario, make vaccination compulsory. Obviously, looking at the nature of our country being a constitutional democracy, we will have to consult the laws and see if that is legal in the first place. But for us, I think we're encouraging what we're saying. Basically, we say, let's put all our efforts as a country to vaccinate everyone who's eligible to be vaccinated. And then once that is done, I think they will have mitigated against the risk of infections, because we don't think the continuous closing of the economy, reopening a little bit is good for the country, because our members are struggling, they are suffering, and if you impose any more restrictions now, they are never going to recover at all. And then the number of employed people, you've got more than 10 million young people sitting at home. That number is just going to increase if we were not careful how we handle this matter.
I asked the same question to another of our guests earlier this evening, and they very deftly sidestepped the question and decided not to answer it. So I'm going to try and ask you to answer it. I know it's a sensitive subject, but earlier, about a month ago, we saw intense politicking in the lead up to the local government elections. We saw mass political rallies with thousands of people attending, often maskless, no social distancing. Do you think businesses in South Africa are now expected to pay the price of irresponsible actions on the part of politicians prior to the local government elections?
Yeah, what we do, we always base our arguments on facts, and as things stand, there's no evidence that indicates that the political events have increased the rate of infections. I think what we see from a data is that the rate of infection that we see now is because of this variant that has just happened. But going back to the political issue, that will fit into conspiracies. There are so many conspiracies in South Africa. People are saying, why is this pandemic? Why was it waiting for elections to pass? But we don't want to venture into that, because we want to base everything else that we do on data, and there's no data now that suggests that the events led to this increase in numbers. But I think that works on the perception for the people on the ground when they're sitting there thinking, but is this linked to the elections or not? But from a data point of view, we don't see any linkage with the events of the elections.
Should government not heed your proposed way forward in terms of not placing us on higher or harsher lockdown levels? Should they decide to ban interprovincial travel and close businesses and put harsh restrictions in place that limit business in South Africa? Can you quantify at this stage what you think the impact would be come early 2022?
Yeah. Remember, the approach of government, or the approach of South Africa, has always been to save lives, but at the same time save the economy. When we look at the numbers that we see, again based on data, the numbers also don't justify any hard lockdown. We were talking about, I think, 2,000 per day. And when we look at the previous lockdowns, they were based on 20,000 infections per day. So data as it is does not justify that. But I think also, I don't think government can take that decisions very, very lightly, because it basically affects everyone. It affects government as well, because the less people employed, the less companies in existence, it means less money going to South African Revenue Service. It means less money for service delivery. So I don't think they can take a decision not based on facts. The facts that are there and the numbers that are there don't justify
I'm going to jump in there, and I know we're running short on time, but I want to bring this into the conversation, that the government is in a difficult position because we're heading towards the festive season. So they're having to make a decision not necessarily on the data as it stands now, but on the likelihood of the data to change drastically as South Africans head all over the country to spend time to socially engage with each other over the festive season. And I'm sure government is in a very difficult position, having to take all those factors into consideration when they make a decision now. They cannot make a decision about, for instance, banning interprovincial travel into mid-December, because then people have already started moving. It's too late then.
Yes, but if we vaccinate and be strict on the health protocols that everyone now is accustomed to, I think we will reduce the infections. We will reduce the impact of the fourth wave. So for us, I think we still think it's not necessary to be hard and take the country, for example, to level 4. Let's leave the country where it is. Maybe if you move, maybe move by one level. But
well, we do hope so. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, but we do thank you very much for your contributions, hoping that balance prevails. We were speaking to Black Business Council CEO Khanki Matabane.